Your daily Bible verse for August 6th, 2025 is Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25-26. In the KJV, again, another twofer. That's 3 this week of twofers. KJV says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. In the Nev, you got husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleanse her by the washing of the water through the word. Now you got even versus just, it versus her, making the church almost sound like this inanimate object has a gender, and this is not unusual. We do things like that with certain types, like cars or other things. It's not really good because it's objectification and it's not so fantastic. But at least those are actual objects that we're personifying, which is better than the other way around, the objectification of the person. My problem there is how easy it is to start interchanging that attitude. So careful with how you're approaching and how you're looking at people. Sanctify versus make holy, and by versus through. Now here, even is meant like just as an example how Christ loved his church. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loved his church. Be prepared to sacrifice for your wives like Christ sacrificed for his church. You're not supposed to have, one wife and then all bunch of other women and all kinds of. No, you chose the marriage, so you chose to exclude a bunch of stuff. That is a holy covenant that you made. Just as like you wouldn't want Jesus just being like, well, I meant it at the time when I was on the cross, but now that I've done this for so long and you're telling me I got to deal with this person like for eternity, now I'm changing my mind and I'm just going to not. If you wouldn't like that with his promise to you, so true, any promise you make, you are then in it. Now, it also says cleanse it, like, to sanctify is a formal way of making holy. It's holy with a capital H as opposed to a lowercase h. It's just sort of like, okay, so if I'm drinking coffee that has been made from, water that comes in through my house, whether filtered or not, in this case, very much filtered, that is where I've blessed the source of my house, so it's all holy water. Is that the same punch, pack the same punch as if I'm washing something with that same holy water and then I'm praying over it? Where does your belief system about what is or isn't holy, where does it stand? And I can tell you there definitely makes a difference for me, because there is a formal praying over or at least a praying over a vessel or praying over something that makes something stay in a state of sanctification for me. And if something like that was not supposed to touch, I were to touch it, it would then need to be re-sanctified again to me, because it would need to be washed clean with water and then re-sanctified. So not every object requires a re-sanctification, even when washed by water. Where is your line? That's going to change person to person, place to place. The more important thing here is not really the washing with the water, as much as it is that's the water for the word. In this case, husbands are being encouraged to read the Bible to their wives in order to sanctify the marriage and to keep it as a togetherness in a state of coupledhood. Couples who pray together stay together because they're both facing the Lord and asking for assistance on the same matter, hopefully having been able to balance out and have communication about what is balanced and fair. But you note the equation that is expected here, that husbands are supposed to be prepared to sacrifice for their wives in order to sanctify and make holy in this wording. Now, it doesn't mean there's nothing wives owe husbands. It's just not in these verses. It's going to be other verses. The law tends to handle one thing at a time so as to not make it all mucked about and confusing. It's already confusing enough and long. It doesn't need additional help.